So this story just came across my way. If you don't know who this man is, this is Mohammad Noor. Now we all know what happened with his case last year in the shooting of Justine Kuzitnik. I'm not calling her by the name that they gave her, because she was not married to the man that she was engaged to. They were just engaged to be married, but they were not married, so I'm not going to call her by that last name that they keep putting out there in the media. Now, back then, we already knew he was going to get railroaded. At first, we thought, oh, they might not do anything because they kept dragging it along and whatnot, and things of that nature. And a few updates came here and there. Well, here's the biggest update that has come so far as it pertains to this story. So, Mohammad Noor, let's just put it this way. He's about to get very comfortable in the prison cell that he's going to be dwelling in for probably the rest of his life, because a judge passed a sentence to him that he has been hit with intentional murder charges. Now, when I heard about that, I'm like, what is intentional murder charges or intentional murder? And when I looked it up, basically it's voluntary manslaughter in which the person had intent to kill someone. But that's not all. The judge also gave him an additional charge of second-degree murder, and that's basically involuntary manslaughter. So they said that he faces about 25 years to life in prison. I believe that's what it is. I have to look it up just to be entirely sure, because they first charged him with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter, but then they upped it up to him facing intentional murder charges and second-degree murder. Now, his trial has not started yet. These are just the charges that he's been hit with, and they said that his trial is set to begin of April 1st, 2019, and it's not looking too good for him. Like, they want to make sure they throw him away. Now, what's even more interesting about this whole thing is you have not heard anything from the Fraternal Order of the Police. Now, when I first learned of them, I said that just sounds like a gang, and it probably most likely operates as such. But I'm not surprised that they didn't have anything to say on his behalf, because he's considered a Somali American. But when you look at him, he looks like your typical black man. Like, when you look at him, if you didn't know his name was Mohammad Noor, or if you never heard him speak, if you just looked at this picture and thought this was the first time you ever heard of him and didn't know his name, you would swear that he was just a straight up and down black American male. But I'm not surprised that they didn't come to his defense. Unlike the many other white cops that they've come to their defense when they kill black people and they throw around that whole Blue Lives Matter crap. They didn't do that for him. They didn't do the whole pomp and circumstance for him. And we knew that they wouldn't, because at the end of the day, this was I guess you could say, quote unquote, black man that killed a white woman. And it didn't matter that this white woman wasn't even from here. She was from Australia. She was only here in the States, in America, for maybe a couple years. She wasn't born here. I guess you can say she was imported, because she was said to marry an American male. So I guess that was going to be her way of staying inside of the establishment. You even had people over in Australia, all the way across the pond, in another region, in another hemisphere, raising hell because of what happened to this woman. It didn't matter at the end of the day that she was not from here or she was Australian. At the end of the day, it was that this quote unquote black man, the Somali American, killed this white woman. And because he was quote unquote, he was Somali American, they're going to probably hit him with that whole, he might be a terrorist thing. That name Mohammad Noor, they love to throw that terrorist label on anyone with a name like that. And to them, he fits the bill. He just looks different here because he's like completely shaven. He has a bald head here and he's completely shaving his face. Of course, in the pictures we saw of him when this happened, he had hair on his head, like a low cut, and I think he may have had a mustache or something to that effect. But I'm not surprised that they did this. And they also said that if he gets hit with the second degree murder charges, that's 10 years in prison or a $20,000 fine. So he's either going to have to serve jail time or he's going to have to pay a $20,000 fine. They're going to make sure that they railroad this guy. But we'll see what happens when the trial actually commences in April, because I know they're probably going to have wall-to-wall coverage on this. But it just lets you know how this establishment gets down when it comes to dealing with a black cop killing a white person. I give you the perfect example. Those two cops in Louisiana a couple years ago who accidentally shot and killed that 7-year-old white boy in that car when they were going after the dad. Now, the dad did all the damage. The dad is the reason that the son is dead. But they send two black men to prison who happen to both be cops, and they get 40 years in jail. Well, I know one of them did. I don't know what the other one got. But I know one of them got 40 years in jail. By the time he gets out, he's going to be old as dirt. If he gets out. And they didn't hold the dad responsible for any of that. They didn't hold him responsible for having the son in the front seat when he should have been buckled up in the back seat. They didn't hold him responsible for leading the cops on a high-speed chase. They didn't hold him responsible for using his vehicle as a weapon, and they didn't hold him responsible for being the main cause of why his son is dead. But they did hit him with domestic violence charges when he hit his then girlfriend. But they quickly buried that story, but I made sure I got a hold of it, and I talked about it too on my original channel. I don't forget easily, as many of you know. But I just wanted to bring this, I guess you could call this an update to your attention. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links will be in the description. I'll talk to you in the next one.